Have you ever thought you could grow rice successfully in Manhattan? Just today, I noticed that my rice plants were actually flowering and setting fruit. This is incredible. I've been waiting for them since May to flower, and because the day length has gotten shorter, they're actually responding appropriately and they've started heading. So this is actually not Asian rice, what we normally eat. This is African rice. Oryza glaberrima is the scientific name. And this might be the first time that African rice has flowered in New York City. Hi, I'm Rachel Meyer. I'm a postdoc here at NYU in the lab of Michael Purugganan. We work on rice, particularly rice adaptation to different environments and rice domestication. Asian rice was domesticated in China about 9,000 years ago, and then it was brought into India and spread worldwide. My work is on African rice that was domesticated 3,000 years ago in the Niger River Delta, and then was brought into coastal West Africa, where people actually grow it in mangrove environments that are saline. So over the course of the last couple thousand years, this species has actually evolved salinity tolerance. So I'm trying to understand how that works so that we can grow more crops in saline environments. For my work, I chose 100 different land races of African rice that were collected in the 70s and preserved at the International Rice Research Institute in the Philippines. I grew all of those different accessions up in the greenhouse here, extracted DNA, and I'm doing DNA sequencing of the entire genome. And then I'm looking for pieces of DNA that have low diversity in my accessions, meaning that they might have been selected upon by humans over time. I also am taking those DNA sequences and I'm comparing them to the actual salt tolerance. So hopefully this way I'll be able to find the underlying genes, or at least regions of the genome, that are responsible for salt tolerance.
I'm Plessis. I'm a postdoc at New York University, and I work on rice ecological transcriptomics. And my project is particularly focused on measuring gene expression in rice that is grown in the field, trying to monitor everything that is happening in the field and try to see how all the fluctuations in everything, in all the conditions, are going to affect the expression of gene.
So my name is Olivia Wilkins. I'm a postdoctoral fellow here at NYU. Farmers over centuries or millennia have bred rice to have all of this sort of different agroecotypic diversity where they're able to grow in any environment you can imagine, really, and yet they're all genetically very similar to one another. And so what I'm interested in doing is taking plants that kind of span a fairly large chunk of the both genetic diversity and agroecotypic diversity and trying to learn the networks that underpin their ability to respond to these different environmental signals.
With the human population expected to rise to over 9.5 billion by the year 2050, we need to be able to grow crops on all possible agricultural land so that we don't have to use more land and dedicate it to agriculture. One of these issues is saline. Some soils are too salty to actually grow most crops, but some types of rice and some types of African rice actually can thrive in those saline environments. So by understanding how these particular varieties can tolerate salt, we might be able to solve some of the problems that the world will be facing.